students, I hope all of you are doing fine. Welcome to today's session. Today we'll be learning about modifiers and parallelism. If we talk about questions pertaining to error spotting that come in an exam, there are three main types of questions that come. First, tense errors. Second, modifier errors. And third, parallelism errors, right? So before getting into what do we mean by a modifier error and what do we mean by a parallelism error, it's important for us to know what do we mean by modifiers and parallelism, right? So today's class, we'll be talking about the basics of modifiers and parallelism, and then we'll be moving on to more complex questions, right? Once we're accustomed with the basics, we'll be moving on to more complex questions. So first of all, starting with modifiers, what do we mean by a modifier, right? Modifiers or a modifier is any word, any phrase, or any clause that is modifying a sentence or anything that is present in that sentence. What do we mean by modifying a sentence? It adds additional information to the sentence. It tells us something more about probably the subject of the sentence or anything that is mentioned in the sentence, right? So a modifier is a word, is a phrase, is a clause that adds to the meaning of another word, another phrase, another clause, or any idea which is present in the sentence. Gives us something more, adds more detail, right? In order to make the description more specific and more vivid. Now, when we talk about a modifier could be an adjective, it could be an adverb, it could be any phrase, or it could be any clause, right? So depending on what is being modified in the sentence, we can categorize modifier into four main categories. There are other categories as well, but four main categories: adjectives, adverbs, phrases, and clauses. So let's say, please have a look at the sentence, the red car. Here, the word red gives additional information about the car. What is that additional information? It tells us about the color of that car, right? So red here modifies the car by adding extra information about the car, by telling us that the car is red in color. So red here acts as a modifier, and red is an adjective that is used here, right? The red car. So red is an adjective that is used here, and it is acting like a modifier in this sentence because it is telling us something extra about this car. And what is that extra information that it gives? The color of the car. Okay, if we move to the next statement, let's have a look at the next statement. He ran quickly, right? Here, quickly gives us additional information about how he ran, right? So quickly here acts as a modifier, and what is it modifying? It is modifying the word ran, and quickly is an adverb. It modifies a verb, right? It was very hot. Again, very here is telling us the extreme, right? So very acts as a modifier here, very quickly. Both of them are adverbs, so a modifier could be an adverb as well. Moving on, any phrase in a sentence could also act as a modifier. For example, if we have a look at the sentence, the dress with floral designs made her look young. The dress with floral designs. This is some extra information, extra detail about the dress. So this entire phrase with floral designs here is modifying the dress. It is giving us some extra information, some extra detail about the dress. Hence, this entire phrase with floral designs modifies this particular dress. The people in the audience roared with laughter. Prepositional phrases, right? This is a prepositional phrase. Again, where were the people? The people were in the audience. Modifiers will help us answer questions like what, where, why, when, right? By giving us some extra information. So here, what extra information are we getting? Where the people were. Where were they sitting? They were in the audience. So the people in the audience roared with laughter. So this entire prepositional phrase acts as a modifier and it modifies the people. Next, my sister, who is a doctor, is very smart. Again, this clause, who is a doctor, is giving me extra information about the sister. Right? My sister, who is a doctor, is an extra information, is very smart. So, a clause could also act like a modifier. Moving on, if we look at this year, these people, that car, demonstratives, they point to specific things or they tell us whether a specific thing is near to us or far from us, right? So this, these, that, those demonstratives also act as modifiers. They tell us whether an object is near to us or far away from us. Possessive adjectives or determiners, my house. Whose house are we talking about here? My house. So extra information about the house. It's showing the possession of the house. Their happiness, your pen, right? Possession is being shown. So here, my, their, your act as modifiers, right? So long story short, a modifier could be an adjective, it could be an adverb, it could be a phrase, it could be a prepositional phrase, it could be a clause, it could be a demonstrative, or it could be a determiner, right? तो ये तो बात हो गई modifiers की. Now we need to understand what do we mean by modifier errors. First thing that we always need to remember, right? What is it? A modifier should be placed closest to the word it modifies. A modifier should be placed closest to the word it modifies, closest to the phrase it modifies, closest to the clause it modifies, right? What do we mean by this? Let's have a look. Okay, so there are three types of modifier errors: misplaced modifier error, squinting modifier error, and dangling modifier error. What do we mean by a misplaced modifier error? A misplaced modifier is a modifier that is placed too far from the word it modifies. Whenever we look at a question pertaining to modifiers, we need to first understand what is the word being, which one of the words present here they are being modified, right? For example, if I look at the sentence, she wore a bicycle helmet on her head that was too large, right? Now here clearly the modifier is that was too large, and it is placed closest to head. So this gives a false impression that was her head too large? No, that is not what the sentence is talking about. That is not the essence of the sentence. The sentence talks about the bicycle helmet being too large and not the head being too large, right? So this is the word that is being modified. This is not the word that is being modified. This is the word that is being modified. And where is the modifier placed? It is placed closer to a word which it actually is not modifying. So here we encounter a modifier error. The modifier is misplaced. So how do we correct this sentence? She wore a bicycle helmet that was too large on her head. So now I have placed the modifier closest to the word it is modifying. Similarly, we returned the soup to the waiter that was sour. Now here my modifier is that was sour. And which is the word that this modifier is modifying? Soup. We are talking about the soup being sour and not the waiter being sour, right? But that was sour is placed closer to the waiter, which makes the sentence incorrect, right? So the modifier should be placed, again, one simple rule that we need to apply in almost all questions: the modifier should be placed closest to the word it is modifying. It is modifying soup here, right? So we return the soup that was sour to the waiter. So whenever the modifier is placed closer to the word it is not modifying, we say that we have a misplaced modifier error. Moving on, second type of modifier error, squinting modifier error. A modifier is positioned in a way that it could be unclear whether it modifies the word before it or the word after it, right? If we look at the sentence, Tyler almost found 50 cents under the sofa cushions, right? What do we mean by almost found? It doesn't quite make sense. You find something or you don't find something, right? But maybe the statement is trying to say that he found approximately 50 cents under the sofa cushions. So instead of saying Tyler almost found 50 cents, we would say Tyler found almost 50 cents, right? Approximately 50 cents. So instead of placing it before the verb, because it is not modifying the verb, it is modifying 50 cents here. So I will have to place it closer to 50 cents. Similarly, I call my sister only when I am sick. This gives off an impression that I'm a very selfish person. I do not call my sister otherwise, and I only call her when I'm sick, right? That is not what we are trying to say. We are trying to say that when I am sick, I do not like to talk to anyone else. I only call my sister, right? So I call only my sister when I am sick, right? I do not like to talk to anyone else. I prefer talking to my sister when I'm sick. So I call only my sister, no one else. I call only my sister when I'm sick. So if you look at both these sentences are not grammatically incorrect per se, but yes, they change the meaning of the sentence, right? They change the essence of the sentence. So such modifiers where we are not able to actually make out the real meaning of the sentence, what is the sentence actually trying to say, and it tends to become very confusing, such modifiers are known as squinting modifiers. Moving on, third category, dangling modifiers. Dangling modifier is a word, phrase, or clause that describes something that has been left out of the sentence. Basically, it does not have a subject. नहीं पता चलता किसके बारे में बात हो रही है, या ऐसा लगता है गलत चीज के बारे में बात हो रही है, right? Because the subject is missing from the sentence. The subject is missing from the sentence. If we say, walking home at night, the trees looked like spooky aliens. Who was walking home at night? And since walking home at night is placed closer to the trees, were the trees walking home at night? Obviously not. Some person would be doing that. But here, there is a sense of ambiguity associated. The sentence is unclear. So, we need to introduce a subject. Most of the times, in case of a dangling modifier error, we need to introduce a subject. So, walking home at night, the trees looked like spooky aliens. As Jonas was walking home at night, the trees looked like spooky aliens, or the trees looked like spooky aliens as Jonas was walking home at night. So in both the cases, we have introduced a subject, and now the sentence makes more sense. The sentence becomes clear, right? So these are the three main types of modifier errors that we may encounter in a question. Let's have a look at some questions. Okay. Walking to school today, a house burst into flames. Again, who was walking to school? Was the house walking to school? Because here it would seem like the house was walking to school, as it is placed closer to the modifier, right? So how can we correct this sentence? How can we correct the sentence? Obviously, some person would be walking, to school. So, walking to school today, comma, I saw a house burst into flames. Okay? Walking to school today, I saw a house burst into flames. Or, while I was walking to school today, I saw a house burst into flames. While I was walking to school today, I saw a house burst into flames. Right? So this is a dangling modifier error right here, and we need to introduce a subject in this sentence. Once we have introduced a subject, we have corrected the error. Next, unsure of what to do next, the project stopped. Was the project unsure of what to do? Or was some person unsure of what to do? Obviously, some person was unsure of what to do, right? So, unsure of what to do, I could say she stopped the project. Unsure of what to do, she stopped the project. Now I know, because after unsure of what to do, I have written she. This particular phrase modifies she. She was unsure of what to do. The project wasn't unsure, she was unsure. Right? So we have to place the modifier closest to the word it is modifying. Unsure of what to do, she stopped the project. Next, at the age of 6, my family purchased a television. At the age of 6, my family immediately comes after at the age of 6. Was the family 6 years old? Obviously not. Some person would be 6 years old when his or her family purchased a television. So I could say, when I was 6 years old, my family purchased a television. When I was 6 years old, my family purchased a television. Next, the patient was referred to the physician with stomach pains. Physician with stomach pains. Was the doctor suffering from stomach pains? Obviously not. But here, because stomach pains is placed in close proximity with the physician, it gives off a wrong impression that the doctor was suffering from stomach pains, right? But that is not the truth. Obviously, the patient would have been suffering. So, the patient with stomach pains is modifying the patient here, right? And not the physician. So, the patient with stomach pains was referred to the physician. Next, I heard that there was a robbery on the evening news. Did the robbery take place on the evening news? No, you heard about the robbery on the evening news. So, I heard on the evening news. Where did you hear this news? Where did you hear this news? On the evening news. So I heard on the evening news that there was a robbery. Next, the mysterious woman walked towards the car holding an umbrella. Again, was the car holding an umbrella? No. Obviously, the woman was holding that umbrella, but umbrella, holding an umbrella, is placed in close proximity to the car, a word that it is actually not modifying. So, the mysterious woman holding an umbrella walked towards the car. Next, the teacher served cookies to the children wrapped in aluminium foil. Again, were the children wrapped in aluminium foil? No. The cookies were wrapped in aluminium foil. So, the teacher served cookies wrapped in aluminium foil to the children. The teacher served cookies wrapped in aluminium foil to the children. Next, chewing furiously, the gum fell out of my mouth. Again, subject of the sentence is missing. Who was chewing furiously? And since after chewing furiously, the gum has been placed, was the gum chewing furiously? Obviously not. A person would be chewing furiously. So I could say, while I was chewing furiously. The gum fell out of my mouth. While I was chewing furiously, the gum fell out of my mouth. Next, the man was shot who stole my purse. The man was shot who stole my purse. The man who stole my purse was shot. The man who stole my purse here is the modifier. The man who stole my purse was shot. Next, eager to impress the teacher, the essay was completed early. Who was eager to impress the teacher? Essay? No. Obviously, students. So, eager to impress the teacher, the students completed the essay early. Similarly, hoping to earn extra credit, the homework was submitted on time. Who was hoping to earn extra credit? Homework? No. Probably some student. So, hoping to earn extra credit, the student submitted the homework on time. Right? So, we have to be very, very vigilant while solving such questions. Try to keep the sentence similar. Do not make many changes, right? The idea is to keep the sentence as it is. जितना हो सके सेंटेंस को अपने ओरिजिनल फॉर्म में रखेंगे, बहुत ज्यादा चेंजेस नहीं करेंगे. यस, आपको कभी कभी सब्जेक्ट ऐड करना है, यू हैव टू ऐड सर्टेन थिंग्स टू द सेंटेंस, यू विल हैव टू चेंज द सेंटेंस, बट ट्राई टू कीप द सेंटेंस as original as possible. Right? So be very vigilant. Try to first understand. What do we have to understand first? कि modifier क्या है और क्या modify हो रहा है. What is the modifier? What is being modified? And then we have to place the modifier closest to the word it is modifying. In case of a misplaced modifier, in case of a dangling modifier, you need to introduce a subject and you need to make sure that the modifier and the subject, they make sense. They go with each other. Right? Moving on to parallelism. What do we mean by parallelism? Parallelism means to have the same sentence structure throughout the sentence. Right? What do we mean by parallelism? Parallelism is to have the same sentence structure throughout the sentence. It is also known as parallel structure or parallel construction. It means to have the same sentence structure throughout. Right? What do we mean by that? Let's have a look. With the help of some examples, we'll try to understand. When I say, let's have a look at the first sentence. She likes dancing, to cook, and reading. Dancing is a gerund. It ends with ing and acts like a noun in the sentence. To cook is an infinitive verb, infinitive form of the verb. To plus verb, right, makes it an infinitive verb. And reading, again, gerund. So, I would want a similar sentence structure throughout. I would want a similar sentence structure throughout. Right? I would try कि या तो तीनों gerunds हो या तीनों infinitive verb के form में हो. Right? In order to maintain that similar sentence structure. So I can change it to she likes dancing, cooking, and reading. This is one probable option. Or she likes to dance, to cook, and to read. Here I've changed all into gerunds and here into infinitive form of the verb. So I would not say she likes to dance, cooking, and to read or any other form. No. All the parts of the sentence should be in the exact same grammatical structure. Next, playing chess is better than to watch TV. Same mistake, different type में same mistake हो रही है. क्या same mistake हो रही है? Playing chess, gerund, is better than to watch TV. Infinitive verb. To watch, playing. दोनों को gerunds में convert कर सकते हैं या दोनों को infinitive verb में convert कर सकते हैं. So, playing chess is better than watching TV. Correct. To play chess is better than to watch TV is also correct. बस structure uniform होना चाहिए. Next, the manager approved the budget and the new plan was implemented. Now, this sentence might look grammatically correct at first glance, but there is a very, very, very slight discrepancy associated with this question. What is that discrepancy? The manager approved the budget, active voice, and the new plan was implemented, passive voice. Same issue. या तो सब एक्टिव में रहेगा या सब पैसिव में रहेगा, right? So the manager approved the budget and implemented the new plan, or the budget was approved and the new plan was implemented. If you're keeping one part of the sentence in active voice, try to keep the other part of the sentence also in active voice. Same goes for passive voice. Next, he threw the ball quickly and with precision. He threw the ball quickly is an adverb, and with precision, the act, the quality of being precise. The quality of being precise is precision. So quickly is an adverb, precision is a noun. Again, adverb. So he threw the ball quickly and precisely. He threw the ball quickly and precisely. Next, I believe that learning English is important and that people should study. I believe that learning English is important, that people should study, and this sentence is actually incomplete. So I believe that learning English is important and that people should study. Right? Next, either you start studying or fail the exam. This is a very common error that we face. किन दो चीजों के बीच में choice मिल रही है? Studying and failing the exam. Right? The choice is between studying and failing the exam. So either will be placed just before the two choices that we have and not before your subject. Right? We have a choice between two things, studying or failing the exam. So either should be placed just before the choices we have. You can either start studying or fail the exam. या तो ये या ये. Either you start studying or fail the exams would deem incorrect. You can either, and then we'll start with the choices, start studying or fail the exam. Next, I like books, games, and going to the zoo. Noun, noun, verb. So we'll try to change all the parts into nouns. So I like books, games, and zoos. Or I like reading books, playing games, and going to the zoo. Right? These are the two choices that we have. Let's have a look at the questions. He served accurately, with speed, and without exerting much effort. So I could say he served accurately, quickly. He served accurately, quickly, and effortlessly. I can replace with speed by quickly and without exerting much effort by effortlessly. So he served accurately, quickly, effortlessly. John likes traveling, listening to music, reading novels, and to play tennis. So, John likes traveling, listening to music, reading novels, and playing tennis. John likes to travel, to listen to music, to read novels, and to play tennis. But this seems a little off, so we usually stick with the first one. John likes traveling, listening to music, reading novels, and playing tennis. I am inspired from your work, and working with you will be. Okay, this sentence is also incomplete. So let's say I am inspired from your work, and working with you will be. So let's say the sentence reads, I am inspired from your work, and working with you will be a professional achievement, and I will grow as a person. If this is the sentence, I'm inspired from your work, and working with you will be a professional achievement, and I will grow as a person, I can change it to, I am inspired from your work, and working with you will be a professional and personal achievement. Working with you will be a professional and personal achievement. Next, melting glaciers, depleted ozone layer, and global warming are some challenges that we face. So, melting glaciers, depleting ozone layer, and global warming are some challenges that we face. Melting, depleting. Melting के साथ depleted नहीं, melting के साथ depleting. An actor knows how to memorize his lines and getting into character. So I could say an actor knows how to memorize his lines and get into character. And get into character. Clark's daily exercises include running, swimming, and to lift weights. So I could say Clark's daily exercises include running, swimming, and lifting weights. And lifting weights. Marcy studied for the test by reviewing her class notes and to read her textbook. Let's say the sentence says Marcy studied for the test by reviewing her class notes and to read her textbook. So we'll change it to Marcy studied for the test by reviewing her class notes and reading her textbook. And reading her textbook. The party was lively and full of excitement. So I can change it to the party was lively and exciting. Annie's dress was old, faded, and it had wrinkles. I can change it to Annie's dress was old, faded, and wrinkled. Okay, this is also incorrect, incomplete, so we'll leave it. The manager told his employees that they must arrive on time and be focused. So I could say the manager told his employees to be punctual and focused. The manager told his employees to be punctual and focused. Next, the new software is both efficient and it is user friendly. I do not need to add it is. The new software is both efficient and user friendly is correct. Right? So these are some errors that we need to look out for. This is just a basic session. I'm just briefing you about the topic modifiers and parallelism. In the upcoming sessions, we will go into grave details and we would be solving questions that are more complex and trickier, right? Sometimes the sentence may seem absolutely correct and it is actually very difficult to identify the error in the sentence. So we will be dealing with such questions in the upcoming classes, right? So that is all for today's session. I hope you all understood and I will see you all in the next session. So take care and bye-bye.